in the upper right. In the blue, he is, well, taking his first series 3-0 here. He is the Protoss player, Zoun. And at the bottom left, in the red, he is newly returned from the military, Zoun's Idol Classic. So actually, when you talk about this, they don't charge they charge a premium on the things you used to buy it. So like, I bought that $20 Visa gift card, but it was $21, right? So they skim a little off the top there. But right now, they're trying to go profit neutral instead of profit positive, because they're, as much as this is right now, it's a crypto platform. The really cool thing is that their goal is, yeah, crypto, okay, it establishes a baseline, it establishes constant income regardless of what's happening. But the goal at the end of the day is not to be really a crypto platform. I mean, eventually it's going to be, well, it's always going to have crypto as part of it, but really it's to sell mesh computer resources for high performance computing tasks, things like solving weather patterns, or solving the human genome, or things like that. So it's distributed computing which is of course going to be much more lucrative for each computer that's part of it than, say, Ethereum mining is. But they're setting up crypto now. They're setting up the Ethereum mining now that they're of course immediately buying from you, to make sure that. I'm surprised we don't have a proxy off this yet from Classic. Anyway, to make sure that there's some baseline economic input, you make some baseline earnings there, and then of course once HPC gets up and running, if you get a task, because you won't always have a task, I mean, it's just going to pay out a little bit more. So that's the logic there. Oh, wait, Zoun finds it immediately. And, you know, this is actually going to be a really interesting, PvP here. Because Zoun idolized Classic when they were both on SKT back in the day. He was, I mean, yeah. And now Zoun is the one that is kind of in charge of teaching Classic how to play this game a little bit as Classic gets back into it. So I know for a fact that Zoun and Classic have been practicing a lot. I know they've been talking about the game a lot. I know Zoun has been taking the opportunity to just say, look, hey, Classic, this is how PvP works. So with that, or every matchup in general. So that being said, I mean, this means that Zoun and Classic, well, there's a team kill, and then there's a team kill like this where one player is like actively teaching the other player the meta. That's always rather interesting. So Classic does run across the map. He does get a pylon. That's always going to be nice. His natural is going to be a little bit faster. And oh, this is so cool. It doesn't work because he shows the Starks at the last second, but trying to bait those adepts on in to get him for free. Well, it didn't work, but it was a cool idea. Well, Raz55. I mean, so for me, I live in Dallas. Energy is about it's 1 cent. It's like 1 cent a kilowatt, I think. So effectively, if I run Salad, or if I do that Ethereum mining, there we go. Nice job here. So baits on base. Zoun diving on in with the Oracle because the Stalkers are trying to kill the Adepts, but it's not going to get anything. If I was to run my 3090 mining crypto for like 10 hours a day on Dallas's energy cost, that would be an additional $10 on my energy bill. I've already made $30. So that's $20 net profit. Oh, 40 cents a kilowatt hour? That is insane. That is a lot of money. Oh, sorry, 30 cents a kilowatt hour. That is... I'm sorry, Blue Hair Critic. That is like... That's probably not worth it. If running, you know, 10 hours is 10 days or 10 hours a day for a month is like $30. I mean, you're still making it, I think, because look, I've run, if you got a 3080, 3090, I mean, I've run this for like, you know, a week now, and I've made $30. So I would be net even on your cost, but you know, obviously profit margins much better here. So where are we at in this game now? Charge underway. Sorry, I've been spending enough time talking about Salad, not enough about the game. Let's see. So charge underway here for Zoun. Classic does not have that, but he did have this weirdly proxied blink, and he does have a Warp Prism underway. He's getting on up to 4 gateways, so we're gonna see some 4-gate pressure coming out from Classic as well. The Warp Prism is done, and oh, there are 4 sentries in here, and you know what? Zoun got blink, he did not get charge, or he got charged, he did not get blink, which means actually he is intensely vulnerable to the old, I'm going to blink in your main base and force field your ramp. Anyway, the Stalkers, they're going to blink on in now. And there we go. So we gotta find the way on in. Nice force fields here are gonna find some value here. And of course, well, if you got a Warp Prism, you have 2 blinks indeed. 1 sentry gets target fired on down the force fields. They're actually not gonna keep things where they need to be, but oh, okay. So here's the play. You blink. Oh, it's not quite this right blink. So there we go. Force field keeping high on the low ground. He forced the warp in, or excuse me, he forced the recall, and now, well, he is a dominance on the low ground. Force field's gonna keep that one out, and this is a dead base. As long as he keeps warping in sentries, as he should, but he's warping in more stalkers. It's going to be a dead base anyways. Classic here, he found the opening he's looking for. And Classic, historically, he's got great PvT, but historically, he's had some insane PvP here. And the force field is keeping all the probes, at least most of them, out of the main base. A bunch of workers are dying. It looks like we have the Oracle's finding damage on the other side of the map, as there's a stasis as well. But Classic, he's got a 3rd base. He's knocked out the base here of Zoun, and that's not going to be a perfect recall, so that's going to be a bit of a problem. But Classic, he's up 17 army supply, he's up workers, he's up a base, he's up 2 bases actually. And what in the world can Zoun do? Even all ending across the map's not going to do much. This is Droxter. This is the Salad Cup, sponsored by, of course, Salad. We had Zoun versus Ragnarok, where Zoun really looked dominant, 3-0'd Ragnarok. Then we had Beyond versus Classic, where Classic, he won 3-1, but it was not as one-sided as that scoreline might say. And now we have Zoun versus Classic here in our grand finals, best of 5. Okay, so now we do have Classic. He's trying to get aggressive here. I mean, he's got a lot of Archons. He's got a lot of Immortals. So even as he is down army supply, his army is good, but charge is going to be done soon. That's going to validate a lot of this army. I mean, not the Archons, certainly, but the Immortals, right? And I mean, this is just a big arc here from Classic. We're kind of at that point where, oh, wait, is he going to be able to deny charge 2 seconds. Honestly, yeah, just go send the warp. Look what Classic's doing. He's going to send the Warp Prism over to power it up. Charge is now done, and he's got a flanking position as well. Classic, you'll love to see it, man. What a move there. That is so gosh darn cool. And Zoun, I mean, he's taking the best fight he possibly can, but the Archons are all dead. GG. Classic, he takes game 1. That's a thing. Now, of course, we do see Classic going for that single gate expand build that Max Pax has popularized so much. But I mean, also, this is the response. You drop a pylon, and then when the pylon is, I don't know, 50% done, 70% dead, you drop that cyber core and you say, okay, Classic, you just never get to make anything happen. And Classic does have that Stargate in the main base, which is, of course, the follow-up. You want to make sure that you don't... Oh, look at this. This is where things get spicy. This Classic is... there's no guarantee that Classic was paying attention to where this probe was. And even if he saw him scouting around, I mean, That's a probe that's just scouting around looking for a tech on the side of the map, on the side of the main base. Does not imply that there is going to be a proxy coming on in. So Zoun, oh please drop. He's not going to drop a gateway, but I would love to see him drop a gateway. That's unfortunate there, Darkness. Sorry about that one. It is so easy, especially if you're on your phone, to like accidentally tap period instead of space. You guess me all the time when I'm like trying to find things. Anyway, this probe is now going to go on down. The base is getting started here for Classic just about the same time as Zoun, so that's always fun. As Classic just have Void Rays on the way, making sure it doesn't die to something. But this is an unscouted position. This is an unscouted position here for Classic, and we're gonna have to see how well that works out for Zoun here. I imagine it's just gonna be for Adepts. There we go. 2 Adepts gonna warp on in, and there is nothing here. There is literally nothing in the main base. In fact, there's a full wall. This is I guess there's a Zealot, and there's a Void Ray that's gonna pop on out, but this is just gonna cause all manner of chaos and madness here for Classic. He's gonna lose 3 workers immediately. The answer is more than that, as the Adept shades on into the natural, gets more and more workers, along with the 2 that managed to shade through the wall, because that's what happens. Oracles have been forced on home, and Oracles will be able to deal with this somewhat, but again, this is still 3 Adepts here, so 7 workers are going to go down. 8, maybe 9. Yeah, I guess the last shot off there. 9 workers do go down, and suddenly Classic, he is down 9 workers, even as he was trying to go for a greedy opening. Does not work. Oh no. Now we need to have that conversation of how Zoun is not in fact Zoun or Zone or whatever Artosis says. It's actually Zoun, or Zoun really, if you're going to be totally correct about it. But it's of course an the closest to anglicization of a general from the Warring Kingdoms period, the 3 Kingdoms period of the Warring Kingdoms. That Zoun is a big fan of the books from. So. And yes, we're saying it fast as Joan because he's a great military leader. Joan of Arc. Well, Zoun is a great military leader, styling after Joan of Arc. Anyways, we do have the Void Ray going to find its way on in there. You know what? Okay, Blink is done. So the Void Ray is going to sacrifice his life for this pylon and will not get it. That's a bit of a mistake. Classic, he's, would love to say he's equalized things. He's kind of dead in this game. I don't know what he can do. Third base, well, he's not going to get his third base for a while. Zoun already has that up. He's down 6 workers, so at least he's starting to equalize that a little bit. And his army supply is a little higher, so if he can take a positive trade, if he can kill some stuff, maybe that's going to work out. But I mean, we don't have any upgrades. We don't have charge. It's just immortals to keep himself stable, which is what you got to do. I mean, you're not going to be able to match Blink Stalker. Just build a lot of immortals. Hope that works. That one works out for you. But I like what Zoun's doing. He's not trying to get too aggressive. He says, okay, well, you know what? I'm ahead. I'm going to get more ahead. Charge +1, third base, immortals. I'm just making it so there is no world where you're really able to come back into this game. But look at this. This is something that I feel like we've seen Classic do it occasionally. But he is gone. And said, you know what? I'm going to go and I am going to get glaives here. And that's going to be my upgrade. Of course, glaive is cheaper than the other upgrades you can get. And we're going to see Mass Adept Immortal against a bunch of stock. Very interesting play here from Classic. I mean, I've seen it work, but it feels like it's more of a gimmick than anything else. See, I'm a big baseball fan, Guitar King. And the Washington Nationals are my team, as I grew up in the DC area. And Ryan Zimmerman, of course, the Mr. National, the first player to ever get drafted by them, he is the Z-Man. Zoun is Zoun. Now we have Classic looking to move out on the map here with not a lot of adepts just yet. But the ability to warp in a bunch of them, as glaives are just about done. He's got 3 immortals, excuse me, 4th on the way. His army supply is not terrible. He's going to warp in a bunch more here. So, I mean, honestly, you know what? Glaive Adepts against charge lots, it's a good move. And how many? We don't have that many Stalkers here. So, yeah, Stalkers are going to look to move around Force fields are going to be nice to stock. Glaives Adepts are just shredding these +1 Zealots. And yeah, shield battery overcharge is a thing, but now Classic's found hold position on into the high ground. Every volley means Adepts to die, and shield battery overcharge only lasts so long. Classic actually taking a supply lead as he's going extremely all in here, only on 40 workers. He's down 11. He needs to make this one work. Stark's coming on in from behind, though. They're going to be able to get on top of this Warp Prism. I think, yeah, they're going to be able to target and fire it down, which means no more reinforcements. With that being said, though, again, these Adepts are just looking so good here. Probes are getting pulled, and they're just getting shredded here, but Stark's going to move on in. Stark is against 3 Immortals, though. Maybe not the play, but it looks like knocking down that Warp Prism has done enough. GG, Zoun. He takes game number 2. But man, seeing the fact that there's just a lot of charge loss there for Zoun in that game too, that build almost worked. And it's very cool that it almost did, but unfortunately, you know, you run out of stuff. Also interesting, it really doesn't make that much of a difference, but notice, Classic, he's gone with the Classic, yeah, I'm going to build 2 gateways in my wall, and it's going to be fine. Zoun is gateway behind Cyber of the Wall. It really doesn't make that big of a difference, but it is surprising, to say the least. Or to say the most, I guess. Really doesn't make that big of a deal. Now, Zoun, he's just going to go for some proxy action here in this game number 3. Classic, won the game that he proxied. Although it was a proxy Twilight that got scouted immediately, so it didn't really do that much. And Zoun actually has not yet proxied. We're going to have to see what he is going for. This is not shorter. Yeah, it's just going to be for Stargate. That makes sense. It's rather interesting that we've seen Zoun it's like he's decided that wanton aggression is the way to deal with Classic. And I think that's probably fair, right? If you can kneecap Classic before he gets to the point of the game where he's strongest, which is like that mid game. We saw versus Zest that Classic's late game acumen is maybe, oh wait, is he gonna find this? He's got it. Folks, the proxy's dead. Well, the proxy's not going to go down, but the pylon is going to go down. That means we're not going to see anything out of this. I don't think there is time to get... Oh, actually, never mind. We're just going to see the second pylon. So never mind. Never mind. The Oracle will pop on out here, but we will see these pylons get targeted on down eventually, and there should be enough here. So yeah, shield batteries coming on down in the main base. Stalkers as well. That's not really going to get all too much done. The Stalkers rally on over. I mean, they're going to get the 1 pylon. And the second one is not going to be enough. But okay, notice here, look at this Stalker positioning. They're trying to time it out so they get shots on the Oracle, but no, the timing's not quite there. Nice job, nice attempt. But at the end of the day, this has been scouted. Both pylons go down. It's just even more expensive for Zoun than it otherwise would be. Oracle trying to find some damage. Actually will be successful despite the shield battery. So 2 workers do go down. It's not what you're looking for, but it's something. You know, meanwhile, behind this Zoun, he's got his natural on the way. Just about it's a little bit slower there than Classic, but he's got himself a 2-worker lead because, well, the Oracle got 2 workers. So that's something at the very least. As I do like this from Classic, just committing these 2 Stalkers to make sure that this base or this Stargate actually does die. Feels like so often we see players be like, yeah, I'm going to get the pylon, and then they ignore it, right? Because you can't build anything, makes sense. And then, you know, a player like Zoun goes back and he drops the pylon, and an Oracle flies in at a later time, and that's where the damage really gets done. But behind this, Zoun going into Blink, just getting a lot of tech. He's not getting as much army, of course, not really committing as much economically, but getting a lot of tech. In Classic, well, he has this Templar Archive, or it's this Twilight, but okay, so it's going to be Blink now. It's going to be a little bit late, but no big deal. This is a bigger map. It's a little bit easier to get away with just not having the fastest possible thing. Anfi is actually not Zoun or Zoun, it's Zoun. Or Zoun. Now these dips, they will be unsuccessful here. This Oracle is just doing a good job being annoying, but we have Stalkers in the mineral lines. It's really not going to get that much done. I'd like to see at some point see a shield battery in the natural, just really to free up a lot of this spread from Classic. But again, his Blink is not going to be ready anytime soon. He's not going to have really much of an army, so we're kind of playing one of those games Joe Chuck Norris Un. Yeah, no, that one's right. When Joun goes and he does push-ups, the world moves. But if you're curious more about it, AlphaX has a tweet somewhere in its annals. I should just have the infographic downloaded so I can throw it up all over the place. But has the infographic in its tweet history about the history of the name, and B, how you're supposed to properly pronounce it. Anyways, these adepts, they're finally going to be found on out. Classic has been trying to shade into the main base with these adepts for like the last forever, and eventually Joun says, yeah, no. I'm going to find him, I'm going to kill him, so whatever. So Classic going into Immortals behind this, Joun getting charged. Both players on that third base, both players getting +1 at a pretty similar timing. And this is one of those PvPs where we have that gentleman's agreement. Man. I might, let's be real here, I don't have a shot at GSL qualifiers, but I have more of a shot at GSL qualifiers than I have at golf qualifiers. I think I have like a 45 handicap. I played a little bit when I was like in middle school. And yeah, my mom's a great golfer though. She's like a 7 handicap, maybe even lower by now. Going around this my home state, playing all these high level golf tournaments. But I always play baseball, and the swing is just too similar. But the issue is though, is the golfing swing is inside out is outside in, and a baseball swing is inside out. So you just get really confused. So your biomechanics get all kinds of messed up. Yeah, the crazy thing is, so at this point she's been playing for a good long while, but she got to within like a 10 handicap 4 years after starting golf. Because she started golf when I was in middle school, just something to do with me because I was playing on the golf team at the time. And she got like to like a 10 or 12 handicap by the time I was in high school. Like, it's insane. And I mean, of course, diminishing returns, much like StarCraft. You get really good for a while and then you start to fall off. But the fact that she got to sub 15 in like 3 or 4 years is ludicrous. My athletic pursuits are limited to wanting to be a very good Quidditch player. Anyway, Stalkers are going to find their way on the left-hand side. They're going to find their way on into this third base, but realistically here, Classic, he's got a bunch of Archons, he's got a bunch of Stalkers. Should not be worth all that much, and charge is now done for Classic as well. So there we have that. And Classic, I mean, just sneakily, he's built himself a 20 army supply lead. All of a sudden. And it really hasn't felt like he's been that far ahead economically. So what's the difference here? It looks like he's got less robos, and he is building up for aggression. I mean, PvP is actually kind of interesting, where it's like that one matchup where really you want to build Archons, even if you're not about to attack, because it's just a buffer. You need them offensively, defensively, and if you're just trying to wait until you attack, it's probably going to be a little bit, until there's a clash, it's probably going to be too late, just because Archons, they're actually a key army unit. PvZ is a little bit more like that, but certainly not PvT. Anyway, Classic here, he's going to get aggressive, and folks, he's got a 20-odd army supply lead. That is rather significant. As the Stalkers, they're striking around trying to find something here. Knock down the shields on an Archon, you know, all that kinds of fun stuff. But Archons, they regen those shields. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the difference. Joun has his 4th base, and he has it mining. So, yeah, that you want to talk about the differences there. That's a lot of money that has been invested in things that is not army here. So Classic looking to punish that with the 30 army supply lead that he's built for himself. He's got +2, so does his opponent. And he's going to find his way on in segmenting out the natural and the natural and the 4th base here. So now Classic on hold position. We're going to see more stuff warping on in. Zealots, well, there are a lot of them, a lot more Archons getting warped on in. Classic does have to be a little bit careful because, well, we will have Disruptors are going to find their way eventually, and Disruptors do a pretty good job against this army. Is Joun just looking to be zone out, do what he can. Zealot run by on the far side, forcing probes to get pulled, but not getting too much here. As now we have Classic on into the natural, but look at this. Classic army is not segmented properly. He's losing the fight on the left-hand side. He took a decent Disruptor shot, I think, but now, yeah, his army's getting collapsed upon, but he's still got a decent army supply lead. Archon's not in the fight, though. Disruptor shot's not really getting what they need here, and Joun, he's collapsing on in. The supplies do not tell the tale of the tape here. because this army that Zoun has, it's just not all fighting. That being said, Morning Rosel's warping on in. Archon still has some shields. Disruptor shots, well, it's going to get rid of that last Archon, and there we go. Now we're seeing the supply start to shrink here. Classic, he hung around too long. He lost too much. His entire army is dead. Yeah, he killed 21 workers, but he's not killed a base. He's not killed, well, he's going to try to kill this base, but he will be unsuccessful. And now, I think we got a pretty good counterattack coming on in from Zoun. There are no disruptors on the map here for Classic, but Zoun, he's got a couple. He's got an extra base. He's able to rebuild his economy a whole lot better. And Classic's going to be forced to all in once again. I mean, he's getting another Warp Prism. Yeah, that was an insane hold from Zoun. Once again, Classic moving on the map. He's going to have a 5 army supply lead, something like that. But now, again, Zoun taking advantage of having that extra base. He's up 7 workers once again. And I mean, Classic was all in. I don't think killing off 30 workers was enough to make him, was enough to equalize this. We're not seeing really big supply leads one way or the other. And honestly, if Classic couldn't break Zoun when he was up 30 army supply, breaking him when he's even is less likely. I mean, he's up 7, he's up 10 army supply right now, so that's something. And he still has a decent amount of Archons. Oh, wait, he's going to be able to get on top of these Disruptors immediately. Second Disruptor shot. Oh, nice save there on top of all of the Archons. So now the Archons can be brought to bear. The Disruptors are going to start to go on down. Immortals getting fired upon here. And you know what? With the Immortals going down, these Archons firing strong Stalkers, well, there's something, but it's not all that great. Zealous getting on top of the Stalkers and the Immortals. Did Classic just break him after this incredible hold from Zoun? And does it not end up mattering as Zealous getting on top of the rest of this army? Now the third base is going to get broken here. The Archon's just shredding everything. And despite that insane hold that we saw from Zoun previously, I think the name of this game is a broken Zoun. That is insane. It really shows you what positioning can do in a matchup like this when it's Chargelet Archon versus Chargelet Archon. The Disruptor shots did not get what they needed to. And now we have this army looking to move on in. Stalkers are going to try to knock the Warp Prism down, but they will be unsuccessful. And GG Classic, he takes it. My goodness, what a game. In the bottom right here, in the blue. He's down 1 game in this series after an insane hold in game number 3 that unfortunately did not quite pan out for him. He is, for Alpha X, Zoun. And in the upper left, in the red, up to 1 in the series, playing some insane games. He is Classic. So Romanticide is another map. You don't have the ramp as much, but it's still a fairly decent choke that you can get away with single gate expands, but looks like neither Classic nor Zoun are super interested in going that. Yeah, so double gate. Yeah, double gate. So now the question is, does Zoun proxy? It feels like he hasn't won a game because of it. Not really. Well, dang, he's just a Classic player from the times of yore. So, you know, we had StarCraft Reborn and, you know, Warcraft Classic or WoW Classic. This is just a StarCraft player Classic. Oh, interesting. So Classic, he's going for a double Adept opening here and a Stargate behind that in the main base. The question now is, how many Adepts is this? Something that we've seen some Protoss players do, Classic in particular, is you go like 4 Adepts, and then you get the Oracles as well. So you kind of dive in with the Oracles and the Adepts at the same time. and just force the defensive position of the enemy, in this case Zoun, to really split itself. And if you don't do it properly, it's a lot of dead workers really quickly. So I think that's what we're going to see here from Classic. Is, yeah, he's getting his second set of adepts. Honestly, may go even higher, may go to like 6 or 8. And on these adepts, they're going to attempt to shade on in, but we're at the point right now. Okay, there are just enough stalkers that you don't really need that. Well, but okay, the adepts are going to shade on in anyways. And, well, I kind of expected a force field, but that's not that, as we will see at least 3. Nope. 3. Nope. Good thing that third worker will go down. There it is. Now it's dead. So 3 workers there for the price of 0. Well, for the price of 2 adepts. And I'll take that, as more adepts are going to look to shade on in. And, again, it's just adepts coming out 2 by 2. This will get scouted here, that there is an oracle coming out from Classic. But now, once again, the adepts, they shade on in this time. They got a much better position on into the mineral line. So 2 will go down. And do we see that third? We do. Do we see a fourth? Do we see it really work out? No, but still 6 workers have died. Classic, though, he's equal on the worker count, despite everything. His basically, he's not really building probes as quickly because he's spending it on into these adepts. But we're going to see our next pair of adepts look to roll on in, and we have an oracle as well. So the play now is the adepts try to shade on in, and the oracle tries to find another positioning. It's really interesting that Zoun 2 shades in a row has allowed the shades in. And I guess maybe the theory is, oh, it's going to be a bait. It's going to be fine. But every time Zoun or Classic has gotten 3 workers, and that's not exactly ideal. Losing 1 or 2, you're fine, or 0, but just not enough DPS to really justify it. Now the Oracle's going to, double Oracle, excuse me, going to look to dive on in. And you know what? Shield batteries say to hell with that one. That does not matter. 2 more workers do go down, 3 as well. And, you know, this is actually Classic taking a page from... Oh, he's going to get the Sentry. No, not enough HP. This is Classic taking a page from Hero's book. As Hero has been playing a lot of PvPs lately, where he says, I don't really care about killing you, killing your army. I am just going to harass you to death. And it's been extremely powerful. It's worked out rather well as the adepts are going to shade on in. This time, though, there are too many stalkers. But still, they find their way on into the natural, so a couple more workers do go down. This is just, yeah, Classic feels like he's playing with his food. He's just finding so much value here as more and more probes do go down. 3 more workers die this time. And yeah, there's a Dark Shrine that's just about done. But at this point, because of the damage that Classic has done in this game, so much damage is required to make up for it. It's 10 workers, it's tech, it's army. Now, the Robo is just getting started, but there's double Oracle here, so realistically, this DT should not get a lot done. I mean, maybe the initial component of it, right, when it finds its way on in before Classic is aware that it is DT tech, maybe that's going to be something, but Oracle's going to dive on in. Once again, that's a dead Oracle, so it's only 1, and that actually takes off a lot of the detection here. But is Classic paying attention? He is. So he's got the wall off. He's got the block. He says, okay, well, you can go into my natural. That's fine. Oracle's going to get recalled. 2 workers die. But again, it's got to be a lot more than that. Oh, Oracle misses the revelation. That is a big deal here. Yeah, now Classic just can't mine from his natural, and he's going to take equalizing damage. He's not going to be able to get nearly as much as he otherwise would have liked. And okay, so he gets the revelation on that DT. Oh, there's a second here. And again, more DTs, they're coming on in. We're going to have an observer out soon. DT trying to find his way into the main base, but that's not going to happen. Still trying to target fire down these probes. Zoun, he's actually going to take a worker lead now. I'm sitting here, I'm like, yeah, he's got double Oracle, right? These DTs aren't going to get much done. Well, answer to that one is I was woefully wrong. So where are we at now? Classic equal on workers. These stalkers are out on the map. Blink is done on both sides. Classic still has an army lead. But yeah, so with Blink being done and Classic no longer having that insurmountable lead that he once had, we're now at the position where both players, they're going to get a third base, and they're going to have Blink, and +1 is going to get started rather soon, and we're going to go on. We're not going to see too much happening outside of maybe some more DT harass for the next little bit of time. But yeah, this DT should not get too much. I mean, there's an observer out in front. Classic, again, just trying to find value, but realistically shouldn't be able to get too much done here. Not on the Romantic side. Not when players are pretty equal on everything. That being said, I mean, there are more Stalkers for Classic than there are Zoun by just about 4. But 5 more workers do go down. Classic finding himself at a worker deficit. Even as he is... Man, I feel like he can get something done with this. I mean, he's up 20, or... I guess it's only 13 army supply. Never mind. Yeah, Zoun, he's doing that thing that every Protoss player loves to do. They say, win behind Dark Shrine. I mean, generally when playing the game Dark Shrine, but specifically win behind Dark Shrine. I would love to see just a cannon right next to the shield battery, just really make it difficult for these ZTs to run on in. Because right now it's forcing, well, observers and stalkers and whatever stay back home. Now Classic's going to try to find something in on the other side. He couldn't get a sentry, or he could, but he chose not to. But now we find value here as the stalkers, they find their way on into the natural. So a bunch of workers will go on down here. 4 stalkers, of course, are enough to one-tap that. So 4 more workers do go down. It looks like DT's finding value on the other side of the map here, but now there's an observer. Charge is not yet done, though, so equalizing damage. Zoun continues that 5-worker lead. So it really feels like this game is by far the most even game that we've had thus far. And yeah, VHT, it really felt like Classic should have won Game 4 and Game 5 against Zest, and Zest just showed really solid late game decision making, a little bit more experience in the meta that he was able to make it happen. Kind of sad we don't have him in Codes, but you know, also this is Zest's last Codes, so I'm glad. I want to see Zest win this Codes. Honestly, really go out with a bang. So I'm not unhappy that Zest is in his last Codes before military, even as I really did want to see Classic come back. Really just unfortunate is we have the hallucinated Colossus here, because why not? It's a Chelch play. So now we have Zoun taking advantage of his, really of his tempo lead to be able to take his 4th base. Stalkers, oh, that's a nice station trap. He's going to get 4 Stalkers here. Now Classic, for a moment, he had and as his warping cycles do complete, he has a big army supply lead. Assuming that these warpins happen, as I think they will. There we go. Yeah, the rest of the warpins. So he's got a fairly decent army supply lead. It's going to be difficult here for Zoun to really attack on into it. And Classic, I mean, he's going to have +2. Zoun has not even started that, so that's going to be a problem in the next 45 seconds and into a minute as +2 does complete. And honestly, with this ramp, I mean, good luck attacking into this. This is what makes Romanticize so hard to kill your opponent. It is this ramp right here. As now Zoun, he's going to try to go for it anyways. He's got a 7 army supply lead right now. 10 army supply lead. Not the biggest, but it's certainly something. Yeah, there we go. We will see that Stasis Trap go on in, and it's not going to trigger anything. Okay. Meanwhile, Zoun has 4 bases. Classic has 3, which is always going to be a problem. Eventually, Classic's going to run out of money. But I think what we're going to see is kind of just a maxed out Classic get into +2. And on, you know, less workers, so he's going to have a bigger army, just run across the map on 3 bases. That's kind of my idea about what's going to happen. Yeah, it's 10 mineral patches for every mineral in a wall. Also, leave will be BW. My name is Beowulf. I cast StarCraft. The other part of that command that's not showing up is you can follow me on Twitter at Beowulf_STUS. We do have the engagement coming on in here. Classic's taking a really nice position on the right-hand side. His +2 is done, so he has that upgrade advantage. He's got a bit of an army supply advantage too. Oh, that's a dead Archon, though. That's a bit unfortunate. Now, Shield Battery Overcharge is going to get popped here, which does mean Classic has to back up for the time being. But, you know, Shield Battery Overcharge only heals so much. It only heals so many units. So Classic feeling a little bit confident, moving on in anyways on this flank that he's got on this upgrade lead, as Archon's now getting on top of this army, but now Disruptor shots, they're going to go on in, really not getting the best shots actually. Archon's getting on top of the mineral line, starting to reset the income here from Classic just a bit, but meanwhile, of course, Classic is taking damage on the other side of the map. It looks like Zealots are going to find their way into the main base. There's actually no warpins. That's a big problem here. Classic's army, yeah, it's got +2, but he can't resupply. He's going to lose this base. He has 0 production in the main base. Forward service, the warp in there. Yeah, that's not going to do it. GG's, yo, and he's going to take us to game number 5. I mean, you talk about feet. Just be a sentry. Sentries don't have feet. Sentries just kind of float there on their maglev or something. I don't know why they float, but they float. Anyways, nice block here from Zoun, making sure he does not take any damage from this single adept from Classic. And what do we have here in this game? Both players going for very similar builds. It is that low ground wall off, quicker expand build, because why the hell not? It's going to work out rather well. In Classic, in this 5th game, he is going Phoenixes. When was the last time you saw Phoenix play in PvP as like an actual thing that you're trying to hide and, you know, sweep on in? Not really. Now, of course, Classic is aware that this is Oracle play. He saw that one. And normally going Phoenix is not all that great against this anymore. The Oracle does have an advantage because Oracle no longer has the light tag. It has the armor tag. But if there are going to be 2 or 3 Phoenixes out by the time this Oracle runs across the map, I mean, well, it's going to be a dead Oracle, though. Here we go. Classic, he finds it now. He's like, okay, Oracle's going to run on home here. It's not going to get a lot done, but now this means this shoe is on the other foot, and Classic has the potential to find some significant value. Of course, it is 2 shots there on the probe, so actually with the shield battery, it's not going to get much. We're going to hit a point rather soon where there are 3 or 4 Phoenix. Or really where 3 Phoenix are the number, where the shield batteries are not going to matter, and it's just going to be dead probes, dead probes, dead probes. Actually, we may be hitting that right now. Yeah, we have 3 Phoenix out on the map, and that's where life gets a little bit complicated here for Zoun, as he wants to make sure he has an economy, and Classic is just not going to allow that to happen. Yeah, Classic, he's not committing into the Phoenix too hard here. He's only going to 4. And behind that, we're going to see Blink. We're going to see Forge. We're going to see +1. We're going to see all that. So I'm kind of surprised, honestly. I did expect him to maybe commit to Phoenix a little bit more. But, I mean, there's a reason that Phoenix tech is not the most popular. I mean, it does preclude any sort of disruptor tech for a while. Kind of makes the Colossus tech a little bit scarier too, but now we're going to see the Phoenix move on in. There we go. We got the BAP. 3 workers go down, and Stalkers, they don't have Blink yet, so they just cannot maneuver quick enough. It's really just the damage is to be holding to the amount of energy that these Phoenix do have. And they should be able to get a couple more probes here. There we go. 1, and maybe there's an energy for 1 more left, but looks like the answer is no. 8 workers do go down. Now we got a recall because Oracle trying to find some commensurate damage here. It's going to be a stasis trap, and it's going to catch literally nothing. Actually, it will complete, so 1 probe will be sacrificed. But Classic's got his 3rd base underway. He's up 6 workers. He's up army supply. He's up tech. His +1 is faster. And he's just in a absolutely incredible position in this game number 5. It's not winning yet. It's not a guarantee to win, but still, he's got the tempo lead and he's got the eco lead, and that, what more could you look for? All right, so now one Phoenix will get taken on down. StarCraft do find that. That's nice. Actually, yeah, with the 2nd Phoenix going down, suddenly these Phoenix are not going to be nearly as impactful. They're just units that he can use to take a fight at this point, because it's not like he's going to kill any more probes with the shield batteries. Well, I guess he can kill probes in this base. Just not the main. Oh, nice blink. Stalker's not dead. Well, we're going to see a lift here, so that's going to be a dead Stalker and a 2nd lift here. And this is where things get a little bit scary. Oh, he doesn't get that. Oh, man, I can't believe he doesn't get that wounded Stalker, but he's able to destroy the projectile. And then the Stalker is able to find his way on home. But, I mean, Classic, he's taking positive army trades. We look at resources lost here. He's half what his opponent has lost. He's got his 4th base on the gold coming up as well. Classic is just going from strength to strength this game. Sometimes you wonder whether maybe he is committed a little bit too hard to the macro greed, as Zoun's 3rd base is only just now done. But anyway, so Classic, his charge is not done quite as quickly as Zoun's is, but he does have +2 underway, and Zoun does not, unlike last game, where Zoun, well, he had more economy when Classic looked to push on, and Classic's going to be based up at this point. He's going to be able to build a lot of charge lots with this gold base, and he's going to have that upgrade lead. He's going to have +2 versus +1 for, you know, about maybe 30-40 seconds. And this base, by the way, is a lot easier to push on into than the 4th base on Romanticide that Classic tried to make that push happen. So everything is turning up roses here for Classic in this game. I mean, the game's not over, certainly, but he is now in a position where he has a 3 base saturation. He's got his 4th base. He's going to be able to mine from that rather quickly, and so he's in a position now where he's just going to be able to start snowballing his supply as much as he can, right? Because he does have that income. He does have that ability. So actually, this is pretty cool. We see a bunch of Zealots and an Archon on the right-hand side trying to find some value. Meanwhile, it's going to be Stalkers blinking into the high ground. And as I think there are... Okay, those are Zealots in that, not Sentries. Now, the Zealots are going to be warped on in. A bunch of Zealots. Stalkers are going to try to blink on top of the Warp Prism. They will get it here, but not before the Zealots complete their warp-ins. And that means, well, a lot of these Stalkers do go down. It is +2 versus +1. And yeah, getting those shield batteries or having those Sentries exist is nice. It does mean that the effectively it's an armor upgrade. It's not going to matter at the end of the day. Zealots are going to find their way on into the main base here. Shield battery overcharge has not yet been popped. Shield battery is doing a damn good job here. 5 workers are going down. A lot more where that came from. And meanwhile, Classic's not doing a lot with these. I would like to see him go put pressure on the 3rd base. There's not really a lot there, but I guess there's enough shield batteries. +2 is going to be denied, and that's the big deal here. The Stalkers, they're just kind of kiting around doing what they can. There we go. We're going to see Recall come on in as well. Meanwhile, Classic, he's got this other army that he's going to try to break the 3rd base with. I don't think that's... Yeah, it's not going to work. But still, Classic up here, massive worker count. He's up massively in army. He's not up a base, but he kind of notionally is because he's mining off that base, even if they do have the same Nexus count. Elson Ralph, yeah, this is the last series of the day, regardless of what happens. All right, so now we're gonna see Phoenix go and lift. Just put a little bit of a lift up here. Okay, so Zoun actually getting active on the map. He's 30 supply down. He's down an upgrade. Actually, he's going to be down 2 upgrades rather soon. Interestingly enough, we see Classic going for +1 armor instead of +3 attack. I mean, it's good for all the Zealots, but most importantly, it's cheaper than +3 attack. And if you're just trying to put the hammer to the tongs, you know, you just build stuff, right? Because this is a 50 army supply lead. Honestly, we're almost at the point here where Classic can go and fight the army on both fronts. So now we're going to have this army finding its way on in. This is the bulk of the army. It's going to knock this base down rather easily. Army here from Zoun is going to try to find his way around, but you got to be very careful because you're inviting a sandwich here. As this base does go down, Classic once again, he finds himself with a tremendous macro lead. And a bit of a micro lead too. Now, the one thing I almost want to see a couple of these Zealots get bled off and allow Classic to get into more high-tech stuff. Because right now, I mean, he's got this powerful army. Man, he does have the supply lead, but I mean, a lot of it, if we look at army value, yeah, he's up a lot. Certainly 2,000 minerals, 1,000 gas, but I feel like he could be up in higher tech units, maybe have some more Archons. Again, the army balancing is a tricky thing to do. Looks like Joan is trying to invite a Classic to attack into him to once again maybe just make a good trade. Oh no, he's going to be aggressive here. So we do have Zealots finding their way on into the main and naturals. The War Prism finds some value there, but okay, at this point, Classic says, you know, to hell with my base at this point. I got 4 disruptors. That's fine. I'm just going for a base trade. All right, I know you don't have as many bases as I do. I can still recall to my main base and have disruptors there and be totally fine. Disruptors actually doing a fairly good job, theoretically, of knocking down this as well. This third base here from Zoun is going to get taken on down. Classic in the main base. He's in the natural. And notice, of course, they're both just working to immediately target fire down as many pylons as possible. Now, the one thing here is I don't believe Classic is aware of this 4th base that was retaken by Zoun. He's not. So there's that. The probes have already been evac'd. We have this base on the upper right. That has been canceled. The gold base is still mining, though. That's the big deal. Classic here, he's up like 40 army supply. And most importantly, the army supply that he has is just very powerful. It's also, he's got a couple DTs, though. We should have detection for that, though. So that's not really going to play a big role here. As now the Nexi are starting to go on down. Classic just building a Nexus in the upper left because that's just as far away from possible from what his opponent has done. And Zoun has no probes. He's trying to build one, but he's supply blocked, which means that this Nexus is the last Nexus. If Classic finds this base, the game is just going to go end. We have a 1 Nexus and 1 pylon here on the map. Oh, he's got it. He's got it. There we go. Classic, he's going to rotate around. How many times do we see a game end? Because it is literally every structure on the map going down. I don't know. Does not matter because this game, that's what's going to happen. The pylon's going to go down. Zoun says no. Classic, though. He's going to take this game. He's going to take the series. GG, folks. Classic. He takes the final series, game 5.